Kulingana na kamati ya kitaifa ya uratibu wa Kifafa NECC, Wakenya wawili kati ya 100 wanaishi na kifafa, na idadi ya visa iko juu zaidi katika maeneo ya vijijini ikilinganishwa na maeneo ya mijini. Mashirika mbalimbali na wanaoishi na ugonjwa huo wanahamasishwa umma kutokuwa na unyanyapaa dhidi ya ugonjwa huo wa kifafa. Mwanahabari wetu Harriet Chimea anaarifu.
Kifafa humtokea mtu pale ambapo kunakuwa na utendaji usio wa kawaida katika chembe za ubongo. Mtu huanguka, hukakamaa na hujipiga chini. Kwake Sharon, hali hii ilijitokeza kwa mara ya kwanza miaka 8 iliyopita baada ya kupata jeraha la kichwa.
So basically what happened between 2016 to 2018, I had several seizures, and those would be, you collapse. And different ranges. The initial ones were, like I was saying, really strong, because when you collapse, you're foaming at the mouth, your eyes have rolled back. And then I believe it was because of medication, then, the severity reduced. But you see, it would still happen. And then I go for medical tests and it's clear. And by that time, I don't know why that is happening. It was actually quite frustrating at the time. So I got my diagnosis in 2018 that I had epilepsy.
Sharon anasema kuwa unyanyapaa dhidi ya watu wenye kifafa ni mojawapo wa changamoto kubwa.
It's so interesting. There's somebody who we're in the same chat group, and we got to talking, and he was telling me he started having his when he was younger. His mother actually took him to the police station. So she said, here, almost deal with this problem. So he was actually in prison for 2 or 3 days. So the policemen are like, okay, madam, please take your child. Again, the other thing you find is, professionals in the work environment, it becomes very difficult because even for myself, I'm not comfortable to self-disclose to the HR department because I genuinely don't know how they'll react.
Huku ufahamu wa kifafa ukiwa wa kiwango cha chini, anasema kuwa serikali inaweza kutia juhudi zaidi.
Epilepsy is one of the broader non-communicable diseases, which at the moment have very little funding from the Ministry of Health. So if we up that, then automatically anything under NCDs gets, more funding. As far as, like I was saying, if it's on the education part, just starting with the teachers and the parents, having simple to understand information about just the basics, have it in at least Kiswahili and English.
Yeah.
I think it's a wrap.
Okay.
Kwa kawaida, wengine wanaoathiriwa hawajikubali na hukaa bila kupokea matibabu kama Fred Kiserem, lakini baada ya kupata jeraha baya mkononi alipoanguka, aliamua kuanza uhamasisho kuhusu kifafa.
I used to develop seizures and convulsing, and a friend of mine told me that might be epilepsy, but I didn't know what is epilepsy, so I had to go back to the books and start reading what is epilepsy. Like myself, I didn't know, and doctors even didn't know how my epilepsy started.
Katika juhudi za uhamasisho wa kifafa, Fred Beuchi kwa miguu alianza safari kutoka Nairobi hadi Mombasa mwaka wa 2018, na mwaka huu alifunga safari kwa baiskeli kutoka Nairobi hadi Tanzania Arusha na kupanda mlima wa Kilimanjaro.
It was very inspirational, it was emotional. You get there and you start crying for no reason. At some point I had get a glimpse of the most difficult places to hike within the whole journey. But there's no option of saying there's another different route to use. I also called my guide and I told him, I think by the time I get up there, I will just drop dead. So at some point he was telling me, you see the way you keep mentioning you will die. This is altitude sickness. So we made our way all the way to Uhuru Peak. We were able to actually get there and flash out the flags to show support for epilepsy awareness in Africa. And we spent 20 minutes or so because it was getting worse. The weather was getting worse and worse.
Katika safari yake na kusimama mara kwa mara kwa maduka na hata majumbani, majibu yalikuwa ya kushangaza.
So many of them had questions like, hii ugonjwa kweli inapona? And we had to really do a lot of explanation to tell them yes. Also, we could get to ask them what are the misconceptions that you guys have heard about epilepsy. Like mtu ameanguka na unamuuliza utamsaidia vipi, anasema leta kijiti, tunamweka kwa mdomo so that they don't bite their tongue. Pouring water on them. Mwingine akasema the last time I saw a person like that, walichukua kiatu enye ilikuwa na harufu mbaya wakamweka kwa pua so that senses zirudi. So everybody had their own kind of story to tell, and that would always give us an opportunity now to start a conversation with them about what really epilepsy is.
Mara nyingi tunapopatana na mtu anayeugua ugonjwa huo, watu hutoa suluhisho tofauti ambazo hazifai.
Number one, you should not give them, you should not put anything inside their mouth. Whether it's a piece of cloth, whether it's a stick, whether it's anything that so many people have been putting because of the fear that they might end up biting their tongue. Indeed, when a seizure is happening, because of the tightening of the muscles, they can either bite their lips or their tongue. But at the end of the day, that is just an injury that can be treated. The worst that can happen when you are there trying to put something inside their mouth and the muscles have tightened, you are not sure at what point the seizure will be over. And immediately the seizure is over, the muscles relax and you are there trying to push something in their mouth. So it might end up also choking them and even causing death. The second thing that you should not do is do not restrain them while they are jerking. So jerking is the fitting. Do not restrain them. That's the only way a seizure can come out of the body. But if you call so many people to hold them and restrain them, it means all those shocks from the seizure end up in the muscles. So by the time the seizure is over, they are very weak. They cannot even stand by themselves and walk. So that's why we say do not restrain them. And finally, do not give them any drink or any food while they're in that seizure.
Kwa lengo la kuwafikia watu milioni 5 kwa uhamasisho huo kutetea haki za wanaoishi na ugonjwa wa kifafa na lengo la kupata fedha, Beuchi anasema lengo liliafikiwa ingawa bado safari ni ndefu. Akiwa na shukrani nyingi sihaba, anasema huu ni mwanzo tu, ugonjwa wa kifafa upo na unaweza kudhibitiwa. Nikiripotia runinga ya Switch, jina langu ni Harriet Shimea.